Two bros chilling in the hot tub.
You the twos and we the ones? Well, you are the biggest two of them all, my dog. That's what you are. You are a giant number two.
There is belief around the NBA that the NBA is expected to punish the Clippers via the death penalty. And if you guys don't, the death penalty, it's kind of, they'll probably be stripped like SMU got a few years ago where they couldn't.
Lose a bunch of picks.
The Clippers circumvented $30 million of cap space by paying Kawhi Leonard for a no-show ad that he was endorsed by, or a company that he was endorsed by, to not even show up, not even have his face on anything. So they basically skirted their way around paying NBA salary money by doing shady acts. And there's belief that right now, the NBA in the offseason is expected to punish the Clippers via the death penalty. What that means... Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Two Bros Podcast. As always, I am Bryce, and I am joined by...
I am Matt.
Alrighty, so the NFL is on kind of slow lull after the whole free agency craze 2 weeks ago. So, but there is still some NFL news because the biggest receiver contract of all time came on yesterday, which is Monday. Seattle and Jackson Smith and Jigba agree on a 4-year, $168.6 million extension, making him the highest paid receiver in NFL history. What is your take on it?
I mean, so this is kind of just one of those very reactionary signings. He had a great season. He deserves it. Obviously, we know he's not the best receiver in the NFL, but I think this is what we're just kind of used to at this point. Nothing but respect to the guy. Top 5 in the NFL for sure. So he deserves his contract. But we're kind of watching how your highest paid player isn't the best paid player at the position. It's the player who's due up next.
Yeah. And I don't know who's up next, but...
I'm not sure, but to me, I think we both know if we went by the best player at the position, Justin Jefferson would be the highest.
Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase should be 1 and 2. Alrighty. Next, Levante David retired today after 14 seasons and 225 games played. He was a 12-time captain and the longest tenured Buck, and also helped them reach the Super Bowl back in the 2020 season. What is your take on this?
To me, I think that's amazing for him. I'm happy to see him go. He had an amazing career, someone that should just be completely proud of the career he had. I'm not sure if he's a Hall of Famer, but I think he is a Bucks legend for sure. So, great career. Congrats.
Full-time captain is nuts. Which means he's been captain. 14 seasons, 12-time captain.
I do worry for the Bucks, though.
They got this defense.
They have so many guys.
Yeah.
And they're working on an extension for Baker. In my opinion, the money should go elsewhere. They need to bring in other talent.
You don't think they should sign Baker?
I think Baker should get an extension, but that should be a next offseason thing. I think they need to bring in talent around him right now.
I mean, they did bring in Alex Anzalone during free agency to kind of...
Which I think is great, but you lose probably the best receiver in your team's history.
That's true. The best. He actually is the best. He is the best receiver in franchise history. 100%. Keyshawn Johnson and Chris Godwin have an argument, but Mike Evans is Mike Evans. He's, up until last year, he had never not had 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And next, we have Joe Flacco signing a 1-year, $6 million deal to be Joe Burrow's backup. Well, I'm pretty sure they signed somebody else. Yeah, Josh Johnson. They also signed Josh Johnson, too.
I think the coolest thing about this is just how we kind of ignore Joe Flacco being the Iron Man he has been in his career, having played for as long as he has. I get it, he's a backup, but the guy is still reliable if you need a spot start. So, hey, bring him on. I mean, I think he knows the system well. He's a really good backup to have. Probably one of the best backups in the league. Bryce is not.
Yes, I don't think Joe Flacco's ever been anything above a below average starter. I've seen through Joe Flacco. He was just tall. That's it. That's why everybody has been so enamored with him, and the fact that he got carried to a Super Bowl. And
one of the things about him is he has the intangibles. He may not be the most athletic guy. He may not be the most talented guy, but he can get it done. So I think his intangibles of carrying
Suggs and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Paul Crew
led
and Danelle
team to the playoffs after
Danelle Ellerbe. And yeah, no, I've seen through. Joe Flacco is not even the top. He's not even a top 5 Ravens quarterback of all time. He's not. No. Vinny, Lamar Jackson, Trent Dilfer.
The final news in the NFL is Brian Robinson Jr. signs with the Falcons.
This is gonna be the most people are gonna draft the wrong B Robinson #1 overall team football next year.
I'm planning on inviting my girlfriend to play fantasy football with us next year, and I'm gonna have to like sit with her during the draft to make sure she doesn't accidentally draft Brian Robinson.
Well, to be fair, it's Brian Robinson Jr. and Bijan Robinson is just Bijan Robinson, so there's no junior in front of
I'm hoping most obviously, there's gonna be someone who messes up by looking up B Robinson.
That's true.
But most of the time it goes by like projected, so he'll probably be Bijan will be #1 for sure. But I think this is a great move, the depth piece after losing Tyler Algier. Brian Robinson, in my opinion, is a lot better than a backup. But I think getting a guy who is a capable starter, who proved he was a capable starter as your backup, is awesome.
Yeah, and he
in the NFL.
Yeah, he has started multiple games for the Commanders, and then he started, I think, a game or two last year for the Niners, or he was the main backup for the 49ers last year.
He was the main backup.
Still, I remember when this trade happened, when the Commanders traded him, I said this was the stupidest thing the Commanders could have done, because this was a guy who was going to be your bell cow running back. Yes, he's not going to light up the stat sheet, but he is going to give you consistency. And you talk about a guy who's going to be a Tyler Algier role to a T, if not better. Brian Robinson Jr. is your Tyler Algier replacement. And better. I feel like he's going to be the Nick Chubb in Kevin Stefanski's offense in Atlanta.
He will be. But that is it for the NFL news. Now we're going to go into a bit of a breakdown of March Madness, talk about where we went wrong and where we were right. Let's start off with the surprises. So far, right now, we have sorry, where are they at? I'm trying to see the full thing.
I just want to say my bracket ended after the first game of March Madness. The actual first game, my bracket was over.
Yeah, Bryce did really bad this year in our family bracket. So sorry, Bryce. You shouldn't have picked Ohio State to win it all.
Hey, you got to be biased sometimes.
Is that Texas, 11 seeded Texas, is actually in the, what is this, Sweet 16 or early days? Sweet 16.
In Iowa,
another bit of a
beat Florida.
We have Tennessee in there. Yeah, Florida being knocked out is very surprising.
Florida was wild.
Bryce, what is your biggest surprise win outside of the, your obvious high point?
I think Siena being as tough against Duke as they did, with not having a single sub until 10 seconds left in the game, is wild. They ran 5 starters. They ran 5 players for 39 minutes and 51 seconds of the game. And then they said the game's over, so let's bring in 1 sub. So 6 guys played the entire game. And I watched the whole second half, and it was, I think, 8 minutes in, you could tell that Siena was gassed. They were done. They had lit up the scoreboard, and then Riley, their center, he's so bad. He was so bad. He's a 7-footer who averaged 3 rebounds a game the whole season. And he was getting out-rebounded, he was turning the ball over, and I get it's Duke. But at the same time, if you are in a small conference and you are a starting player and you are averaging 3 of something that is a notable position that you should be averaging more of, you're bad. He was the reason that Siena lost the game. He was. Riley Mulgrave or something.
No, I am surprised by how Siena held up. I think for me, the biggest surprise win here was Texas A&M over St. Mary's. St. Mary's has been a team you can kind of almost rely on to make some moves in what's it called?
I think you kind of called it.
Drop. What was that?
I think you kind of called it. You said they're March chokers.
I did say they're March chokers, but I also, to see them drop to a 10 seed, I expected them to go to the next round and give Houston a hard time. Yeah. And then watch them drop to a team who got smacked around. To me, I was also really, really surprised with how Virginia almost didn't beat Wright State. I think, once again, another team I'd said was pretty clear as day, in my opinion, as a choker is Virginia. Only beating them by 9 points pretty much proved how Tennessee was.
Wright State was winning most of that game. They were. And you and I are 2 people that have seen Wright State actually compete in person.
Yeah, we watched them in person.
We watched them
in Detroit a few years ago.
I think that was the Mid-Atlantic American Conference or something.
Mid-Atlantic Conference as well.
That Kendrick Nunn was there.
But and who was that really big guy who we thought was going to be the NBA but didn't? Loud and Love, yeah. But another big thing that surprised me was we had 2 perfect brackets up until the what's it called?
Florida.
I think it was the Florida game.
It was the Florida game. We had 2.
I like the second or third game of the second round. There's no perfect brackets left, so I think within my lifetime we'll see a perfect bracket.
I think we will. I think we will. Because
AI
I
coming
exist
along
now.
and how well. So here's the thing, right? I'm gonna go through. I actually made my own bracket. Well, I made multiple brackets. One that I went in depth and I studied on. I'm gonna go through my percentages on that, and this is why I think someone who doesn't know college basketball that well doing this well should prove to you. In my mess around bracket, I have 98.4% of my picks correct and 441,000th in the world. I picked the High Point game. I picked Texas.
I picked High Point too.
I picked Tennessee.
I didn't.
Let me see. I correctly picked Iowa. I got Nebraska wrong. I actually picked Vanderbilt. But someone who doesn't know much about the game but decided to do a little bit of studying, I think this shows that people who really know about the game, I think there's going to be some, and that mixed with AI, there's going to be someone who does a perfect bracket at some point.
Yeah, it will happen at some point.
I think within the next 30 years it'll happen.
Yeah, especially I think there will be a time when somebody says, AI, make my bracket. And it'll be a bracket. It will be.
There's a lot of people who are running with like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Claude, Grok, and they're getting pretty decent brackets. Bryce, who do you think of these current teams is your favorite to win it all?
I don't know. I zoned out after Ohio State lost, and then Kentucky lost, and then BYU lost, and just sank my bracket.
Your final Illinois.
And if Illinois loses in the Sweet 16, well, no, I have zero chances it is. I can only get like 100 more points altogether or something.
For me, I think for me it's Arizona. It feels pretty clear as day. If you look at their matchups, they've handled business in every round. Long Island, they beat them decisively. Utah State, they beat them very decisively.
Here's what I want to say. I think Duke is wildly overrated right now because they struggled against a 16 seed, and then they blew out TCU.
Blew out a very depleted, tired TCU team who played probably the game of the year, the game of this tournament so far, in my opinion. I think I could very likely see Duke losing to St. John's this round.
I think that we could see Houston make another deep run. This team is built for March. We've seen them in the past. We've seen them in the last few years, and they are just dominant. Purdue is another team that they're looking dominant again. After losing Zach Edey, they kind of rebounded, but that they did lose. They were the second number one seed.
I still think one team you can never count out. One team you can never count out is UConn.
Yeah.
I think you have to recognize their blue bloods, and if we see, which really likely we're going to see Duke take down St. John's, I don't know how they get past UConn.
Yeah, I did see something that every time Duke has won the national championship, they've taken out St. John's. Well, every time Duke and St. John's have faced in March Madness, Duke has beat them and won the national championship.
In my bracket where I really put my effort in, I have Duke.
Duke isn't. I think Duke in the Siena game really showed how you beat them. They did.
You have to hit them early and hit them fast.
Yeah, and also sub out your players. Sub out your players too.
Yeah.
Alrighty, that was March Madness. So we're going to move right into the NBA because it's going to be a mainly basketball episode, just to let everybody know. So if you're not a basketball fan, we enjoyed having you. Still stick around because it's fun to hear us talk. But Cam Thomas was waived by the Bucks after 18 games. He averaged 10.7 points, 1.9 assists, 1.6 rebounds, 0.3 steals, 0.1 blocks. He's shooting 43.1% from the field, 27.5% from three, and 75.4% from the free throw line in Milwaukee. And I remember when Cam Johnson signed with the Bucks, and I made a post about it, and everybody called me crazy, how I didn't think about how after his first game, he went nuts, and I said every bad player has a good game every once in a while. And can Cam Thomas score the basketball? Yes, absolutely. That has never been in doubt. Here's what Cam Thomas cannot do. He cannot score efficiently. He cannot pass. He cannot rebound. He cannot play defense. He cannot shoot the three ball consistently. He cannot play team basketball. He cannot play winning basketball. He is analytically one of the most useless NBA players the NBA has ever seen.
Yeah, I will say, in my opinion, this just proves you're going to see him end up being a G League guy. There's no room for him to be a credible player on a real roster. When a player struggles to shoot like he has, 43 from the field is not bad, but 27.5 from three is terrible. You want to see assists go up. You want to see steals go up. You want to see rebounds go up. When you're averaging 1.9 assists, 1.6 rebounds, and 0.3 steals, you just show you have no value to a team. The NBA has gone away from volume scorers. Gone are the days of your Jamal Crawfords, of your Lou Williams. You really want a player who's fully all
Even
around.
those guys still average like 4 or 5 assists a game.
I understand, but you want a player who's all around. The reason why Luka can get away with his minuscule defense is he is such a great facilitator. And he's fantastic. What was that? Oh, we're going to talk about it later. But the reason a guy like him or a guy like James Harden can get away with those things is because they have the ability to be facilitators. Cam Thomas, who is a volume scorer, who's not even a very good volume scorer at that, cannot facilitate. He's a guy who you will shove in a corner and hope he can hit a three, but he's not even that good at that. So I think this shows Cam Thomas just his heyday in Brooklyn was just that. He got lucky. He was on a bad team who let him chuck up shots. But we're seeing the player he actually is. And I'm sorry, his career is over. You're not going to see a legitimate team and a contender grabbing him to be a depth piece because he can't bring you real value.
And I feel like those idiotic, delusional Cam Thomas is a great player because he averages 5. They're still going to hang on to maybe if Cam Thomas gets a chance. Cam Thomas was wanted in Milwaukee by Giannis, and the Bucks let him go.
Exactly. This is a terrible Bucks team who needs anybody. Cam Thomas is still a bit of a younger player. They need anybody they can look at as a potential. And I'm sorry, there was never a chance he was going to overtake Ryan Rollins. There was never a chance he was going to get those minutes from him. So I think
Ryan Rollins does the things required to play good basketball, to be a good teammate.
There's 10 games left of the season. We do not need to roster him because he's not going to bring anything to us.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this was scary because it happened last night. Moses Moody suffers a torn patella tendon in the 137-131 overtime win over the Dallas Mavericks last night. And Moses Moody was having a career year, and he was starting to look like the guy that they drafted him, 10th overall back in 2021?
He was so good.
And his season is over.
I completely feel bad for him because you're right. He was having one of the best years of his career. You hate to see anyone go down. It's so hard to watch a player get hurt.
We have talked about the Warriors 3 weeks in a row now.
This one, we did. This one in particularly is hard because he's a likable guy.
Yeah.
He's a guy who puts the work in. He takes his time. He is slow. He's not slow. He's quiet. He's a really likable guy. So to watch him go down like that is tough.
Yeah. And the way he did it, he went up for a shot. He went up for a shot, and you saw his knee when he planted to go up for the shot. It was nasty. If you have not seen it, if you have not seen what his knee looks like, do me a favor, don't watch it. Don't. It's nasty.
An injury like that, it's not like Kevin Ware, Gordon Hayward, Paul George bad, but it's bad. It's hard to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It's gross.
I'm definitely hoping he heals up.
Now, here we go. Here's my. Here's.
Have these two unlock. You might not hear from me much here.
Okay. Luka Doncic is averaging 39.2 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, and 7.3 assists per game over the Lakers' last 10 games. They are 9-1 in those 10. DeAndre Ayton has finally bought into the fact that he is not a superstar. We are finally starting to see the potential he once had surface again, and he's helped the Lakers become legitimate title contenders. And I get the Lakers lost to the Pistons last night, who are the number 1 seed in basketball, by the way. They have the best record in the East. They have the number 1 seed in the East. But the Lakers, during their win streak, they beat the Rockets 3 times. They did. And the Rockets are a top 4 team in the West. Whether you like to admit it or not, statistically, record-wise, the Rockets, with Kevin Durant, are a top 4 seed in the West. And the fact that they were dominated...
They're not 4, Bryce.
They not anymore?
No, I'm pretty sure...
They were 3.
Yeah,
they were 4.
They're 6.
They're 6 now? Yeah, because...
Nuggets, Timberwolves, then them.
Yeah, that's how close the middle of the West is. But the fact that the Lakers have beat all these teams the way they have, and Luka is playing like an actual MVP candidate, this is levels of impact for the Lakers. He is putting the Lakers on his back right now. The Lakers have not had a scoring streak like this since Kobe back in the 2005-2006 season. In the game in January when he scored 81 in a game. So the fact that Luka is doing this and has made the Lakers from they'll be a first round exit to maybe this team can make some noise. Luka actually needs to be in the MVP conversations.
You know, one thing that is sticking out to me in these last few games for him, last few months, his defense has been a lot better. In the last 3 games alone, he's had, let me do the math here, 12 steals and a block. While we all know his defense is not great, it looks like he has energy. It looks like he's actually trying. I've watched plays where he is diving, throwing himself on the floor, actually putting a lot of effort in. So if we're getting a Luka Doncic who's going to try to be a better defender, I'm excited to see what he can do. I think this Lakers team, while I don't put them as a better team than the Spurs or the Thunder, I put them as a team who can sneak past you and can really piss you off, can make you question and make you fight harder.
And even LeBron has started to accept that this is Luka's team, and he's kind of started to take a back seat now. And he didn't have 10 points for the first in the first half. Well, he had 0 points in the first half for the third time ever in his entire career. He had 0 points in the first half.
Under the last 3 games.
Yeah, and it's helping the Lakers right now because everybody's starting to buy into their roles. DeAndre Ayton has accepted the fact that on the Lakers he will not be a superstar, because they have Luka, they have LeBron, they have Austin Reeves, they have Rui Hachimura, they have Luke Kennard, who is playing absolutely amazing basketball right now with the Lakers. Luke Kennard I remember a lot of people saying that Luke Kennard was not going to be as much of an impact as everybody thought he is. And guess what? Luke Kennard is playing a huge role for the Lakers right now. And we are seeing a team.
A lot of shooting.
This Lakers roster is kind of starting to resemble the Lakers roster that won the championship in the 2019-2020 season. It is a super dominant number 1, a really good number 2, a stifling center, a really good role players around them that know their roles. And this team, if they can stay healthy, I feel like could make a conference finals right now. I feel like they could. They could sneak by the Thunder or the Spurs right now, and I would not be surprised.
It looks like a signing happened in the NFL while we were on this call.
Elijah Moore signing with the Eagles. 1-year deal with the Eagles. Not that bad. Yeah.
He's a close friend of A.J. Brown's.
Do you have anything to say about the Lakers?
I look at them as I think they're going to make it through the first round. I look at them and I think they can take down a Suns team or what's it called? Actually, I'm not sure who they'd match
the Rockets, Nuggets.
I think they could. Technically, if the season ended today, they'd match up with the Rockets. I could see them handling the Rockets in a 7-game series. I just don't know if I can see them squeaking past the Thunder or Spurs. But I like the fact of what they can grow and what they can do. I really need to see more from them to prove to me that they can hang with the big dogs.
And they're starting to get hot at the right time, which is nice. Well,
for me, they face off against. They have 2 more games against the what's it called?
The
Thunder this year.
Oh, the Thunder.
The Thunder.
That's right.
I believe they have 2 more games against the Thunder this year. So I would like to see. They don't even need to win them. I just want to see them hold their own.
Yeah. So next,
so they off against the Thunder. Yeah, pretty much a week apart. Wow. Yeah, I would like to see them win one and maybe hold their own another.
Yeah. I think the way this roster is now with everybody buying in, I think that they could actually make the finals with Luka, and I would not be surprised.
Their hardest remaining games right now are against the Cavs and the Lakers, and the Cavs and the Thunder, who are 2 heavy hitters, I will say. So they need to put up big performances against the 2 of them.
Yeah. Talk about the Cavs. They're a team that James Harden trade, almost the best team in the East overnight. Overnight, they became pretty much the best team in the East.
I'm worried about them. Because right now, like they're facing the Magic, right, and it's a 1-point game.
Yeah, but the Magic is starting to turn around.
To me, I know they can take down the Pistons and the Knicks. I don't know about the Celtics. The Celtics team is so good right now.
That's fair. Alrighty, speaking of the Pistons, Cade Cunningham suffered a collapsed lung during the Pistons' 130-117 win over the Wizards on St. Patrick's Day, and he is out indefinitely.
That's a really scary. I mean, he'll be back for at least the second round, but that is no matter take away basketball. That's scary. You know, that's a fearful thing just to see someone go down with. Definitely praying for him and his family. Such a good player, honestly. As someone who does not like the Pistons because I'm a Cavaliers fan, dude, I gotta sit here and recognize how amazing of a player he is, and how he's just so valuable to not just the Pistons but basketball.
Okay. I think we need to actually think about getting rid of the 65 game. I think we do. Because there's no reason why Cade Cunningham should be out on the floor for a meaningless March game against the Wizards. There's no reason why. There's no reason why. Cade Cunningham was the front runner for MVP. He was.
No, he was. No.
Well, no, I saw I did the rankings. I looked at the rankings today. The number one right now is actually Nikola Jokic. Right now,
Bryce, what are you talking about?
he's the favorite to win.
I'm going to pull up the NBA MVP ladder right now.
I did it. I looked on BetMGM. He's the betting favorite right now.
The NBA MVP ladder. It's Shea, then Luka, then Wemby, then Jokic, then Cade. But either way, just a 65
game. Because it's forcing guys to play meaningless games and then getting hurt. Did we learn nothing from the Derrick Rose injury? Did we learn nothing? There's no reason why in that game Derrick Rose should have been out there. And then he tore his ACL, and then his career was never the same again. We are putting guys in for meaningless games that don't actually matter so they can get their MVP. And you're seeing guys, yes, you're seeing guys who haven't been healthy in the past and haven't played a lot of games in the past, like Kawhi Leonard. Joel Embiid's healthy again. We are seeing those guys right now be healthy. But then it makes other guys like Cade Cunningham, who realistically should not be out there because they already clinched the playoffs. He realistically should not be out there on the floor as much because they're 52-19 right now, and they clinched the playoffs already. He should not be out there, and he was, and he had to be because of the stupid 65 game.
Yeah, I will say you're right. A game against the Wizards, it doesn't matter. Like, they're going to win that game with without. They beat the Lakers without him. So I think if they wanted to let him sit, that should have been completely fine. They were coming up on probably their hardest part of their schedule. The end of the year is sadly the hardest for every team. Doesn't matter who you're facing, you are going to deal with a lot of injuries. And also, not just to say that, they have the Lakers, Hawks, Timberwolves, Thunder, Raptors, Timberwolves, Sixers, Hornets. These are tough. This is a tough matchup. I think the idea of him saying a meaningless game against the Wizards that they crushed them in, it's okay. So to lose a star, probably a top 5 point guard in the NBA for a meaningless game, it's ridiculous to me.
I think he's a top 2 point guard in the NBA.
I don't know.
Top 3. Top 3.
Menial. But, it's hard. So I think I agree with you. The 65-game rule is stupid. I think they tried something. This needs to be gone. This offseason, it better be gone.
Yeah, it should. And if it's not gone, I think we will start to see guys just sitting on purpose. We will. We'll see teams sitting their guys on purpose, and then you'll see guys that aren't deserving of the MVP win MVP because of this stupid thing. You'll see a Jonathan Kuminga get MVP.
So if we're talking about guys who should win MVP, realistically, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has 60 games to his name. If he gets injured at all, he can't play. He cannot. There are 10 games left in the season. If he misses half of them.
Yeah. If he misses 6 games, he can't win MVP.
This right here, it's so
if Wemby misses another game or two, he can't win an award.
He's getting very close. Luka's has 60 games. It's ridiculous. Just imagine Luka and Shea both miss 6-7 games. Wemby misses a game.
And Jokic can't win MVP, I think, because he has.
Cade can't. You know what that means? Realistically, it's probably Ant, who is good, but
he's too.
He's been injured. 58 games for Ant right now.
Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards is out right now, isn't he?
So, and if we look at the MVP odds, right, you're going to take out the main guys. Jaylen Brown wins the MVP.
If Jaylen Brown wins the MVP, they should never give out another one again. They should if Jaylen Brown wins the MVP due to a technicality.
Jaylen Brown has 64 games to his name. I'm sorry, look, you're reading all these stars. Most of them don't play more than 65. Donovan Mitchell has 62. Now, yes, they're realistically Shea, Luka, and all them are going to play enough games. They're going to get to what they need, but this is stupid.
Yeah.
65-game rule needs to be gone.
Yeah. And now we're finally talking about this because now there is belief around the NBA that the NBA is expected to punish the Clippers via the death penalty. And if you guys don't, the death penalty, it's kind of, they'll probably be stripped like SMU got a few years ago where they couldn't.
Lose a bunch of picks.
Well, they weren't playoff eligible. They lost recruits. They lost funding. They just pretty much had to rebuild from the ground up. So they're thinking about something like that. I don't know if you guys know, if you guys are new to the whole Clippers stuff. The Clippers got there was an investigation around the Clippers in July, August or something about how Kawhi Leonard got the Clippers circumvented $38 million of cap space by paying Kawhi Leonard for a no-show ad that he was endorsed by, or a company that he was endorsed by, to not even show up, not even have his face on anything. So they basically skirted their way around paying NBA salary money by doing shady acts. And there's belief that right now, the NBA in the offseason is expected to punish the Clippers via the death penalty. What that means, we don't know. It'll probably be loss of draft picks, loss of it'll be fines, it'll be probably loss of television, merch sales, everything. And I don't know if they can do the whole you can't make the playoffs in the NBA. I don't know if they can.
But they'll do suspensions.
They will do suspensions, but is Kawhi Leonard even going to be a Clipper next year? That's the question. Because Kawhi Leonard right now is playing the best basketball of his career. He is. Let's be honest. Kawhi Leonard's averaging 28 points a game, and he's healthy. He's playing as good basketball as we've ever seen Kawhi Leonard play right now. He is.
He's been amazing.
He has 72 games, and he's played 56 games. That's incredible. We haven't seen Kawhi Leonard play 50 games in almost since they made the conference finals with him.
Mm-hmm. It is very frustrating, I will say. This team overall, like, you can't be doing stuff like that at all. You cannot. So for them to get this kind of penalty, I feel bad for, like, our dad is a Clipper fan. And I feel bad for the rest of the Clipper fans out there. Because, like, you have to watch your team be atrocious, pay this guy under the table, and then to get this absolutely insane, this absolutely insane punishment that they deserve just sucks. The only person being punished here truly are the fans. And I think you're right. Like, let's just say the Clippers trade Kawhi for some first-round picks. Are they going to get stripped of those picks? Like, or are they even let them trade Kawhi, and are they going to suspend him for a year? It really comes down to a big question.
And if they end up trading Kawhi, is he going to be suspended for a year? And then the team that trades for him has to deal with no Kawhi for a year, and then they gave up draft picks for him that they're not going to get. Are they going to get those picks back because Kawhi Leonard is suspended? Who knows?
This all comes back down to how big of a punishment, or how big of a how big of a why can't I think of the word? A message the NBA wants to send with the Clippers.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them if they come down with it like harshly, because this is ridiculous. This is disgusting, and I think all parties, including Kawhi, including Steve Ballmer, should be punished.
And people were trying to, Kawhi Leonard didn't know. Really? Kawhi Leonard knew. He got $39 million bonus for just doing nothing, and there's no incentives with it. It's just a check for $39 million. Let me turn this light off because now you can't see my face. Well, now you can't see my face even more. But there we go. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And everybody knew. Everybody knew. Steve Ballmer can say, we don't work with them. Yes, you did. Your name was on it, and then your name is secretly off of it now. It is. It was on there when you made the deal. It was. You can't sugarcoat your way out of this one. You can't. It is.
There's no excuse. This is despicable.
And the NBA has to do something, because if they don't, every team's going to be able to do it. And then nobody can complain when teams do it. Nobody. I'd be mad if the Lakers did it with Luka. Here, do a landscaping thing, but you don't have to show up for it. But here's an endorsement check for $50 million so we can circumvent our way around $50 million so we can sign more players. That's exactly what it was. They circumvented the salary cap to make moves, and ironically, the moves didn't work because the Clippers made horrible moves in the offseason.
Yeah, it's just
letting Norman Powell walk, trading for John Collins.
Honestly, they made good moves in the season of the trade deadline.
Yeah,
but
they did, yeah. But still, like you did all this stuff to circumvent the cap space to get players, and then you actually fumbled every move you made to the point where James Harden wanted out, and now we're seeing that he is right. There was a lot of talk that maybe James Harden saw what was coming for the Clippers, and he said, I don't want to be here anymore while all this is happening. And I think now it's probably smart. I think if the whole thing had not happened, James Harden would be a Clipper right now. I think it would. If Steve Ballmer didn't do what he did, James Harden would be a Clipper right now, and I think that they would be playing the best basketball right now, and they'd be hot right now, and instead of the 8th seed.
Yeah, this is going to be a really weird offseason for the Clippers, knowing they're going to lose their first-round pick as well.
Well, they don't have it. They have a token.
They lose their first-round pick to the Thunder.
Yeah. The only chance they have is if the Pacers pick falls between 5 and 9.
Which doesn't feel likely.
So they basically traded if it's a Zubac.
Right. Well, with that being said, well, no, because if let's say it doesn't contract,
Yeah.
come this
You get
year, they
two
get one a
firsts.
few years later.
Yeah. They get 2 firsts down the road.
You'll introduce us into what we're doing right
Okay, so we are doing NBA awards almost through the the whole season. Basically, there's 10 games left, but we're gonna do an NBA awards ranking or our NBA awards right now, based off of all the awards that the NBA gives out. We're gonna start with Coach of the Year, and each of us are gonna alternate, and then we're gonna end with MVP. So my Coach of the Year is JJ Redick. I think the Lakers are supposed to be good, but I don't think people expected the Lakers and Luka to be this good right now. Third in the West right now.
I have a hard time with that. I understand where you're coming from with this, but to me, it's just not the right time for them. Bryce, for me, my Coach of the Year is Joe Mazzulla. Talking about a team that shouldn't be nearly as good as they are. The Celtics were this good before Tatum, and just to be insanely, probably even better after him, it's hard to take away from Joe Mazzulla and what he's done with this team.
Yeah, that's fair. Alrighty, next, my clutch player of the year is SGA. I think it was either going to be him or Anthony Edwards, but I do think SGA has showed up in the big moment more than Anthony Edwards has.
For me, I'm going to give this to Ant just because of an award we have later on. So I'm going to run with Ant for this. It's hard to say it wouldn't be Ant. Watching all the games he plays, it seems like there's no one you want more in the clutch right now than Anthony Edwards.
That's fair. Although guys can get 2 or 3 awards a year. It's happened before.
Oh, I know.
But my 6th man of the year is Jaime Jaquez. I think that he has been so good off of the bench, and I think he's really helped them. The addition of Norman Powell has helped, but I think moving Jaime Jaquez to the bench, you really see how good he actually is, how impactful scorer he is off the bench, and he will explode for 40 any given night. Because you can just give him the reins of the second unit and he can torch.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. For me, I went a little different. I went for AJ Mitchell, another guy who has just been so freaking good this year. My only worry about him is he may have started too many games with Shea going down. So I'm going to run with AJ Mitchell just because he has been the anchor of that second unit wholeheartedly. He's the heart and soul of them, but I could actually see Jaime Jaquez. Dude's been outstanding this year.
Yeah. Next, for my defensive player of the year, I have Wemby. I think it's self-explanatory. Wemby would have won last year if he didn't get hurt. I think he's playing exceptional basketball. I do think that he is the defensive player of the year.
I'm going to run with you in the same thing. Wemby, you can't pick against him. To be honest, if it wasn't for the person I'm picking for MVP, I would pick Wemby for that as well. He has been the best player, it feels like on both sides of the ball all year, but by far defensively, there's no one even close to him. You somehow spoke this man into existence about a decade ago with Jeremy Abdul-Rahim. So
Jeremy Abdul-Rahim.
That is inside joke that we have. Bryce created a player named Jeremy Rahman?
Jeremy Abdul-Rahim in NBA 2K, I think like 2K16 or 17 or something. And he was
2K16 to 2K25.
Yeah, and he was 7'7", 99 everything, and he was a point guard. And he won every single award from Rookie of the Year, or from Rookie Year until he retired, including every NBA championship and every Finals MVP.
It was infuriating. But now we somehow see him spoken into existence. Bryce, who do you have for your most improved player?
Most improved player, I have Jalen Johnson. I think Jalen Johnson is, after his injury-riddled year last year, he has really become the face of the Hawks, and I think he is the big reason as why the Hawks are so good right now, post Trae Young. I remember when they traded for Kristaps Porzingis, everybody was wondering how the fit was going to work with Jalen Johnson and then Onyeka Okongwu, and Jalen Johnson has just become the number one. He's become the alpha on the Hawks, and he is the reason why the Hawks are going to be dangerous in the playoffs.
Jalen Johnson definitely is the best player on that team. For me, where he lacks is the defensive side. We kind of know they were willing to trade Trae Young because he is also not a very good defender, Jalen Johnson. So for me, I went for my most improved player. I went for Ryan Rollins, a guy who you see playing both sides of the ball. And also, for me, I struggle with this most improved player when it's like a first-round pick or a top 15 pick who is coming into their own. Like, we always kind of expect a player like that to figure out at some point. Versus Ryan Rollins, who was a second-rounder, bounced around from different teams, but man, he looks like a staple. He looks like a guy that you will not see moved off of the Bucks unless it's a crazy trade package. So I'm going to go with Ryan Rollins. My only worry with him is I don't know if he's going to hit the game quota as well. Jalen Johnson should pretty much crush that. I think Ryan Rollins is close to the number. I would have taken Denny Avdia, but he's played 58 games, and I don't foresee him playing all at least 7 of these next 10 games. So for me, Ryan Rollins is my choice.
Rookie of the year is going to be fun.
Yeah, I think we're going to be disagreeing on this as well.
I have Cooper Flag. I do. Even after a slow start, Cooper Flag has become he became the number one after he started to heat up, and he hasn't dropped as the rookie of the year front runner, as the favorite. And I think unless Cooper Flag gets hurt and doesn't play the rest of the year, I don't think there's a scenario where Cooper Flag doesn't win rookie of the year.
You know, I can definitely see that. I think Cooper Flag, first off, just a phenomenal player, 110%. He is he is the franchise player, a generational type player Mavericks got for them. I'm going to go with Con Knipple just because of the fact that he broke the rookie record for 3 points. And not only, it's not even like, oh, he has stepped in and just shot the ball well from 3. He's been amazing on every part of the court.
Yeah.
You can see he has a lot of effort. He is a hustle player. He plays defense. He's a really good facilitator for his position. I think when it comes to that, this is going to be one of those where it's like, wow, this is a 1A and 1B. Cooper Flag and Con Knipple are already, like, in my opinion, are two guys who you can't go wrong with choosing. I just think for Con breaking that record, I foresee him getting the nod, but honestly, I can see it going either way.
Is the floor for Con Knipple as high as Cooper Flag? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Cooper Flag has best player of the league potential. That's how good Cooper Flag is. But
you don't always see the rookie of the year being the best player in the draft class. Malcolm Brogdon won the rookie of the year the same year as, what was it, Giannis was drafted?
He won, no, it was the same season Joel Embiid played.
So don't always see the best player being rookie of the year. I think Con Knipple, yes, his ceiling is much lower than Cooper Flag's, but right now Con Knipple's having the better rookie.
Yeah. Oh, it's also like when Michael Porter Jr. won Rookie of the Year back in 2014.
That was Giannis.
Yeah,
sorry.
That was the Giannis. No, that was the year after Giannis. Giannis was drafted in 2013. Michael Carter Williams was drafted in 2014.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was 2013 because they traded away Drew Holiday to New Orleans and got that pick. That's right, they did. Yeah, they swapped picks. Well, no, they had their pick and then they traded with New Orleans and got New Orleans pick also, so they drafted New Orleans and Michael Carter Williams.
Bryce, finally, the biggest award for the NBA. Bryce, who do you have for most valuable player?
I think you guys know where I'm going based off of the fact that I went on an absolute glaze fest earlier. I have Luka Doncic as the MVP, and I don't really think that there's an argument for it right now. He's playing like the best player in basketball right now. He is playing like 2022, 2023 Dallas Mavericks Luka Doncic right now, who honestly, realistically should have won MVP over Nikola Jokic. He really should have. 33. Luka's doing the same thing he did with 2 less assists and 2 less rebounds, but he's averaging 34 a game right now. 34 a game on the number 3 seed in the West.
You know, I would normally I'd fight you on that, but I do agree Luka Doncic is just a phenomenal player, and he's having a phenomenal year. My only worry about him is it feels like too little too late. They're still sitting at the 3rd seed. There's no way of overtaking either the Spurs or the Thunder for the 1 and 2 seeds. So I have a hard time seeing anyone outside the top 2 winning an MVP record-wise. For me, I have to go with SGA. I think he's the best player on the best team. Do I think he's the best player in the league? Not at all. I still think that's Giannis, but
I think he's top. He's not better than Giannis, Jokic, or Giannis, Jokic, or Luka. He's not.
He's a top 5 player in the league for sure. I
think there's an argument for KD right now. I think there's an argument for Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard.
No, I think over them. Let's talking player wise.
Shai
is a top 5.
Kawhi Leonard right now. You're taking You're taking SGA over Kawhi Leonard this year.
First off, yes, Shai is younger and better in my opinion by far. It is hard to act like Shai isn't having the best season of anybody right now. He is the reason why this Thunder team is what they are. And I understand that Luka may have more points per game and more rebounds and assists, but let's look at the entire production of SGA. He is by far the reason why this team is what it is, and I have a hard time picking anyone but SGA.
Luka's the sole reason why the Lakers are as good as they are right now. They are.
Also, you have look. Thunder are the number 1 seed. They're not the number one, not just the number 1 seed in the East or the West. They're the number 1 seed in the NBA. They have the best record by a country mile. There is no touching them. They're going to break 60 wins by next week.
I think they're almost there already.
I think they're like 57 wins.
Like 58 right now.
They are so good. Like there's just no one who's going to touch them. I don't think they've already clinched up the first seed, but I'm pretty sure they're a win away. Yeah, they're at 57 wins right now. It's by the time we're recording next week, they'll probably be a 62 or 63 win. I get it. Do I want to see SJ win another one? Probably not. I'm a fan of when we see different players win these awards, but it's hard to ignore what SGA has done this year.
Here's my thing. If Luka doesn't win an MVP this year, is he ever going to?
I was just talking with Iffy about this. I don't think Luka will ever win one. Because sadly for Luka, the beginning of his career was Jokic, Giannis, and then now he has SGA. Wemby's going to come along and steal one. Flag's going to steal one. Anthony Edwards is definitely going to steal one at some point. I think we could watch Luka go down as one of the greatest players to never win an MVP.
No, he'll be the greatest player to never win an MVP. He will. He will.
My worry for him is he might never win a title.
No,
Luka may come home with no real accolades, but we'll understand what a great he is. Luka could go down with that John Stockton type career.
No, whoa, hold on.
I'm talking accolades. What accolades? That's all.
I love John Stockton, but no way.
I'm talking accolades. I'm talking no MVP.
I was talking Dwayne Wade.
No. D Wade has finals to his name. No MVPs. No finals. He has a bunch of all-stars, so a lot of points and a lot of assists, but I just don't foresee Luka ever winning either of them.
Chris Paul. There we go.
Great example. Chris Paul did go to the finals before.
Except for Chris Paul is a joke of an NBA player, and Luka is...
I was waiting for you to call him a bum or something like that.
Chris Paul is a 6-foot failure.
Look, I would love to see Luka. I think Luka is having the best season. I just think the best player and the best team is going to win it.
Luka's had probably the two greatest non-MVP seasons in NBA history. His 2022-2023 season?
I would say, I understand that, but James Harden may have had a better season when Russell Westbrook won the MVP.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
James Harden had one of the craziest seasons to not win the MVP.
Was that his 36-point game season? Was that his 36? Yeah. Was that his 36-point per game season? The
only reason is because he had that triple-double. Which, hey, I respect. Triple-double was amazing, but James Harden had the better season, also with the first-seeded team. But, guys, let us know what you think of this. Obviously, Bryce is a Lakers fan, so he's going to have a lot of opinions. You saw he picked JJ Redick and Luka. I actually am not against either of those two picks. I just don't think the NBA is going to swing that way. But let us know what you think of our picks. Let us know if you hate them, you love them, whatever you say. We just want to hear from you guys.
Should I press charges on the tree for attacking me? Who knows?
No, but Bryce has something very fun he probably wants to talk about in a bit. You just finished shooting your movie.
I did. I just finished shooting a short film that I wrote. Ironically, the guy who directed it shot 2 Nike commercials with Luka Doncic, which is amazing. Yeah, so the director of it shot 2 Luka Nike commercials. But yeah, it was 3 days of filming, which may not seem like that much, but each day was at least like 10. Well, Sunday was 13 and a half hours that we filmed. 13 and a half hours. And it was a lot of
20 minutes long. Think about that.
It is. It's going to be, no, it's probably going to be around 30. It's probably going to be around 30. But still.
This shows how much work is put into like these like 3-hour movies.
Yeah. It's 3-hour movies are like 6 months of filming. It is. And then probably another 6 months of editing, or like 2 or 3 months of editing, 2 or 3, a year long promo. Yeah.
Bryce, this can be our de facto interview for this. What was your favorite part of the filming process?
My favorite part of the filming process, I think, was the final scene. I'm not going to get into it because I'm not going to spoil anything, but the final scene was probably my favorite because it was... Wait, North Carolina fired Hubert Davis, by the way. Breaking news. North Carolina fired Hubert Davis. But now we can get back to the movie thing because it was just so many not special effects, but it was props and then lighting and then... There was all kinds of blood. It was great.
So I know you've been in a good amount of different roles. Is this the most in-depth or intricate thing you filmed in your career so far?
It is, yes, because, spoiler alert, I'm the villain in the movie. I am. It's not a spoiler alert to say I'm the villain. If you've seen the trailer, you know already.
You've also seen how Bryce's takes. He plays the villain well.
Yeah, I do. You and I actually were going to do this movie when you were out here, but you didn't want to be on camera. Yeah, you're not.
And also, I was on vacation.
Yeah, you were on vacation. You didn't want to work. Which, seeing how long it is now, you would not have been able to do anything fun because it was 3 10-hour days plus. Well, it was like 3 12+ hour days, but still. Yeah. But.
All right, Bryce. One more question. When do you think you'll have this ready for everyone?
I just started looking at, because obviously I didn't do anything yesterday because I was exhausted from all day filming on Sunday, but I just started editing it today. And the first scene right now is already 2 minutes 26 seconds long, and I haven't done any special, or I haven't added the actual like mic sounds in it yet. I'm just putting the clips in right now. Still have to add special sounds for all the action stuff and for the phones and all that kind of stuff. Lighting was done for the TV, so I don't even have to do that already. But yeah, I'm using CapCut to edit, by the way. So if any of you are movie people, use CapCut. It's really fun. I made the trailer that way. I probably will have it out early May. That is my deadline to have the movie out early May.
That's really exciting. All right, guys, you heard it, a little sneak peek from the podcast from Bryce about the podcast, about his, what's it called? His movie. What are the odds we can actually throw the trailer at the end of this? So
I will.
you'll edit
I was going to
the
put.
trailer in.
Yeah, I'll put the trailer in at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who haven't seen the trailer, stick around for an extra 3 or 4 minutes and it's like a minute and a half.
It's like
of the
a
trailer.
minute and a half or something. Stick around for an extra minute and a half for bonus content for this podcast that's not podcast related. It's for Cold Cat related. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that has been it for this episode of Two Bros Podcast. Thanks so much for watching. Let us know you had fun. Be sure to comment, and subscribe for more. Peace.
We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Oh my god, you cut their fucking cat in half? Great. Oh, I am definitely having that blanket washed.